Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. The bodies of 39 people have been found in a lorry container in the UK in Essex. Police were called by the ambulance service shortly before 1:40 BST after the discovery at Waterglade Industrial Park in Eastern Avenue in Grays. The lorry driver has been arrested on suspicion of murder. Essex police said the lorry travelled from Bulgaria and entered the country via Holyhead in Anglesey on Saturday. In June 2000, the bodies of 58 Chinese immigrants were found in the back of a lorry in Dover. A Dutch lorry driver was jailed the following year for their manslaughter.
We believe the lorry is from Bulgaria and came into the UK through Holyhead on the 19th of October. Emergency services attended, but sadly all 39 people inside the container had died. Early indications suggest that one of these people was a teenager. The rest are believed to be adults. A murder investigation was launched and the lorry driver, a 25-year-old man from Northern Ireland, was arrested on suspicion of murder and remains in police custody.
Turkey and Russia have agreed what they say is a historic deal aimed at keeping Kurdish forces away from Syria's border with Turkey. The deal was announced after 6 hours of talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Turkey's leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan in the Black Sea resort of Sochi. It comes during a pause in Turkey's offensive to drive Kurdish forces out, creating a safe zone in the area. Hours after the deal, a convoy of Russian military vehicles arrived in the city of Kobani in northern Syria. Under the deal, Syrian and Russian forces will immediately oversee a withdrawal of Kurdish forces. The deal sets out plans for joint Turkish-Russian patrols along the border next week. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on winning the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize. During their meeting on the sidelines of the Russia-Africa summit in Sochi on Wednesday, the Russian leader said it was a worthy tribute to the Prime Minister's efforts in resolving the border conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea. The two leaders also vowed to strengthen economic ties and cooperation between Russia and Ethiopia. The Santiago offices of multinational utility company Enel caught fire on Friday amid massive protests in Chile over recent fare hikes that shut down the capital's city metro stations. Videos showed people watching as firefighters battled a blaze which tore through the emergency staircases on the building's facade. The fire could be seen across the city. Enel Chile said in a statement that an unknown group had attacked the corporate building, specifically the emergency staircases. Frustrations over the high cost of living in the Chilean capital city came to a boil after the government announced hikes on October the 6th by as much as $1.17 for a peak metro ride, blaming higher energy costs and a weaker peso. A top US diplomat says President Trump made the release of military aid to Ukraine conditional on a pledge that a political rival would be investigated. Ambassador Bill Taylor, seen here leaving the impeachment inquiry, said he was told Mr. Trump wanted Ukraine to probe ex-Vice President Joe Biden's dealings. Mr. Taylor said relations with Ukraine had been fundamentally undermined as a result. President Trump insists there has been no such deal or exchange of favors in Ukraine policy. A body has been found and 4 people are missing in flooding that has hit parts of northeastern Spain. Catalonia suffered its second period of torrential rain in 2 months. Streams became raging torrents and a 70-year-old man who tried to move his car was swept away. His body was found on a beach hours later. A woman and her son were inside a mobile bungalow when the river Francoli burst its banks and washed it away. Flash floods in northern Italy also left 2 people dead on Tuesday, and roads in the south of France were blocked as rivers burst their banks. Hong Kong's legislature has formally withdrawn a controversial extradition bill that has sparked months of unrest. The bill, which would have allowed for criminal suspects to be extradited to mainland China, prompted outrage when it was introduced in April. It was earlier completely withdrawn in a largely empty legislature. The protests have continued with regular demonstrations which have spiraled into a wider pro-democracy movement. And finally, a group of Brazilian army soldiers have put down their guns and hit the beaches outside the city of Recife for a sticky mission. They're helping to clean up some of the oily sludge that has been spoiling the pristine coastline for the past 2 months. Soldiers sifted through sand looking for the thick petroleum sludge that has been mysteriously washing up on beaches in Brazil. Brazil's government said it had collected more than 600 tons of oil from its northeastern beaches since mid-September. And that's your international news around the world in 5.